the Creative Contractor Show. This is episode 5, and I'm very excited because we have recorded 4 episodes and we have launched 2 of them. And with the 2 that we launched, we've gotten a ton of feedback. First thing is, I know the episodes were long. I know I said a lot. I know I'm not media ready. My wife told me I need to wear a hat. I can't do my shows anymore without a hat because she said it's part of my brand, and I think she doesn't like the way that I look without a hat on. So it's actually a great segue because what we're going to talk about today is branding, okay? One of the things that Tyler told me, in addition to stop saying and pausing so much, is to have a notepad. But guess who's got a notepad today? So the title of the show, or the episode, is Building Your Brand in the Trades, okay? And there's an important distinction that I want to make between your company brand and your personal brand, okay? There is going to be a lot of intertwining of the two, but it's going to be very specific, the way that you brand your business and the way that you brand yourself, okay? So the first thing is, obviously, my name is Dan the Roofing Man, right? That is my personal brand. That's how everybody's known me for the last 20 years. And that's what my personal Instagram is, right? So I don't have a Max Roofing Instagram because I've never really branded my company in a way that a lot of other people do. There's an I'm going to be as conscious as I possibly can about saying right? So if you follow me, you have seen the projects that we do, right? You will understand that my company, Max Roofing, has orange signs with white lettering, and they're banners. They're not signs, they're banners that we put up on these construction fences because the projects that we do are so big and they're built by, some really well-known builders, or there's designers or architects involved. And my goal is to put my big ass orange bright sign right next to their sign. So they show up and they snap a picture of their company sign. Mine's right there. I actually got in trouble once by one of my builders because they said, Dan, we don't mind your sign, but it looks like the roofing company's building the house. Do you mind getting the exact same sign in a smaller size? So for me, not a big deal. We did that. So if you drive around Arcadia, Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, and you see some of these legit builders, a lot of times you're going to see my sign. So synonymously with those large homes, people think of our company, right? That is our brand, is that we do some of the biggest homes in the state of Arizona and probably the country. We're not the biggest company out there. Okay. But the projects that we do, they're either high profile. They have, like I did the governor's house here. I did Randy Johnson's house. I did Kurt Schilling's house. I've done basketball players and politicians. So these are notable projects that people understand. They've seen, sometimes there's reality shows centered around them. One of the houses we're actually doing right now, I think they're going to be on, I don't remember. It's one of the big home building shows. They're going to be featured this Saturday. And this house we did was about 30,000 square feet. It's a big, giant U-shape. There's a basement and there's a loft. Separate from that is a single RV garage, which is pretty typical, right? Separate from that is an indoor trampoline park at these people's house. Separate from that is a tennis pavilion. They've got a full tennis court. Their pool's got to be out of probably a couple $1 million. They have an entire wiffle ball field that's built to look like Wrigley Field. I think the parcel's like 3 or 4 acres, completely landscaped. And this house is getting a ton of publicity, okay? Well, who did the roof? We did. So as part of our brand, people recognize us for those types of projects, right? So another thing with that is not only do we do big projects, everybody does shingle roofing, everybody does tile roofing, but we're known as one of the best, not the biggest, but the best metal roofing companies out there. Now, metal roofing, it's very complicated. The details are very different. You can't just slap it on and just hope that it's not going to fly off or it's going to look right. You have to deal with oil canning and different panel widths and different panel heights and striations and, what's the fascia detail look like? Because there's a lot of metal roofers out there that say they do metal roofing, but when you ask them to wrap a fascia, oh, we don't do that. Well, if you do metal roofing, why don't you do metal fascia? So we do a lot of metal fascia wraps, wall wraps, stuff like that. And again, people seek us out because when they go on our Instagram, then they see the clients that we have, the projects that we do, how complicated or how big they are. It's part of Max Roofing's brand. Okay? Another roofing product that is very similar in that few people do it is wood shakes. Not only, so metal roofing is kind of done everywhere. It's done on commercial buildings, it's done on houses, it's done at parks and schools and whatever. But wood shakes are really only done in specific communities in Arizona. That's Central Phoenix, the Biltmore, Arcadia, and, some in Gilbert, out in the Pecans, areas like that. But I've been doing them for 20 years. And some of the shake roofs that we've done, those houses they're getting to the point where they're so old, people are knocking those houses down and rebuilding them with, modern farmhouse or whatever. And because of our brand and because we've been around for so long, those builders are calling us back to redo the roof or to do the roof on the new building where we did the house before. So it's one of those things where once you've created your company and you've created your brand, what happens is people start to associate you with those types of products, those types of builders, those types of architects. It's just part of who you are as a brand, right? So beyond that, while I'm on these projects, I share kind of nerdy technical information about metal roofs or about spray foam roofs or about wood shake roofs, okay? And so people can go on there and see that we're doing these big projects, but also I kind of know what I'm talking about. And because I kind of know what I'm talking about, when a designer or an architect is starting to create a vision for a project, they come to seek us out and they want technical advice. They want help with picking colors. I'm colorblind, but I just give them the color chips. You know what I'm saying? But they want us to be involved from the beginning so that they know their end product is going to look right. So because of that brand, because of the technical advice, we get sought out by homeowners, architects, engineers, builders, realtors, even other roofing companies that either don't offer the services that we offer or they tried to do something they shouldn't have done. But because of the company's brand and what we've built, again, we're basically known as the expert for those types of projects. As we post the stuff for the company and we share, we're constantly sharing, our sign and our projects and the clients that we work with. As soon as we end up getting a project or an opportunity, I guess, we have to win that job, okay? But as soon as we win that job, generally speaking, that client for us is a client for life. I still have the first client that I ever worked for 20 years ago. He's still a client to this day. Still have the first roofer that I hired 20 years ago. I still have my first repair guy I hired probably 18 years ago because they're all a part of my brand. Like they make my company what it is. Sure, I might be the face of it and you can see our sign out there, but these are the guys that literally perform for us to make us who we are. And so because of the branding that our company has done, most roofing companies out there, when they're doing projects for a homeowner, that homeowner's only replacing their roof once in their whole life, right? If they live in the house for 20 years, most roofing systems last that long. If they buy the next house, they're probably having the roof done by somebody else before they move in. But generally speaking, it's like a one-time sale. Whereas with my clients, because of the niche that we have in the custom home game, in the B2B game, if I close that client, what happens is I'm going to close them again and again and again and again. So for us, the opportunity that was created from the branding and the marketing that we've done can potentially create a client for me for life at $30,000 a pop or 50 or 100, or the one roof we just did out in Gilbert was almost $400,000 for a house. It's insane. Okay. So it's important for us because our brand has to represent who we are and what we do. That brand creates opportunities for us. Once we have that opportunity, we have to perform. Once we perform and we earn their business, we basically earn them for life. So as far as the company goes, right, I share it on my personal page. When people are looking to spend a lot of money with someone, they want to spend money with someone that they like, they know, and they trust. People know me for talking too loud, talking too much, being a long talker, being an overshare, being direct. There's a lot of things that people can say about me, but nobody will ever say that we don't do our job. And I take pride in that. I take pride in being an honest person. I take pride in sharing my wins and my losses on social media. And because of that, especially because of that, I get a lot of contractors, grown men that call me, they text me, they message me, and they say, "You inspire me." That's one of the main reasons why I created my podcast, is because of the amount of people that write me, "Hey, thank you for sharing that. Hey, thank you for being so vulnerable. Hey, I'm struggling through this thing too." And I've been there. I've been there, and that's part of what makes me who I am. It is my success. It is my failure. Okay. As far as my family goes, I've been married for 17 years. Okay. I've got 3 beautiful children that can be a little butts sometimes, but they're my butts, and I love them. But I share about my wife. I share about my marriage. I share about my children. I share about when my kids lose in sports. I share about when my kids win in sports. That creates the persona, I guess, of who I am, because I am a real person. I am an honest person. I am a father. We love to travel. And when someone comes to buy from me, they want to know who they're buying from. Holy crap, this guy loves espresso. I love espresso. This guy loves tequila. I love tequila. This guy travels a lot. I travel a lot. Next thing you know, that person's at lunch with a friend of theirs, and they're like, and the friend says, hey, I need to get a roof done. Oh, you got to call this guy. Do you know him? No, but I feel like I know him. I follow him on Instagram. I see all the stuff he does. He's doing the house right next door to yours. Okay. He's got 3 kids just like you. What's funny is he actually loves espresso. I know you're Italian. And because of my branding and because of the fact that they relate to me for whatever reason that is, they end up calling. Okay. So as far as your personal brand, my page, Dan the Roofing Man, I share everything about my life. We love to travel. We travel a lot, and I travel alone. A lot of times when I travel alone, it's strictly for business, whether it's a mastermind, coaching, I'm going to a factory, I'm going to a conference, whatever that is. And I share about what that is. Well, other contractors that are there start to follow me, or other guys that are considering doing that, they go and do it. They take that leap because they see me doing it, and I understand that by me putting it out there, my wife doesn't care about what I share at the conference, but all the contractors that follow me do. They want to know who was there. They want to know what I learned. They want to know my takeaways. So always share that stuff. And people, as much as a lot of people some people hope that you fail. That's very few people. Okay. There's a lot of people that need to see that other people fail. There's a lot of people in a lot of dark spots. And if part of your brand is sharing losses, it makes you more relatable. I didn't know that until someone told me that. I've just always shared. But then when someone came to me and said, Dan, that's what makes you real. I have a lot of competitors that follow me, and most of them are very supportive of the things that I share or post. Some of them reshare it. I think some of them are threatened by me and they don't reshare it. But I have a few clients that I've gained that were they were buying from another roofing company in town, or roofing companies. And then they write me and say, Dan, this video really resonated with me. You're real. We're having a real issue with these people over here, but because we relate with you, we know your other clients, they vouch for you, we want to use you instead. Okay, do you mind coming to bid on this project? Sure, we would love to. So here's the problem with taking notes, right? My last show is really long. I said a lot of stuff. Taking notes, I feel like I have to stop and read through it. But again, it's very different to do a podcast alone. The benefit is we actually passed our inspection. I'm cleaning my laundry room, moving my studio in there. I'm going to do some more soundproofing, and then I can actually start building the pod that I'm doing. It will be a much better, much nicer, much cleaner sound. And then at that point, I'm actually going to start having guests on. So these first several episodes are me learning all of this stuff. It's also me not waiting until everything's perfect. And I think you guys should learn that it was a struggle for me to get this going. Not because I didn't want to, it's because I was trying to make it perfect. I needed to know how to put that light and these 2 lights and how to set this microphone up. And I'm just not a video guy. I'm not an audio. I'm a contractor. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going out and doing these things. And I know I'm going to build the studio, but that's going to take time. And in the meantime, I need to start doing this. Okay. And you should do the same thing. Don't wait. Okay. A lot of people go to these events and, they're constantly consuming this information, but they're not doing anything to implement that into their lives or their world or anything that they're supposed to be doing. I don't want to be that person. I said I'm starting a podcast. I started a podcast. It took me forever to get it on Apple because it was just harder to get on Apple than it was on Spotify. But now it's on all 3. I've got my website set up. I've got my email set up. I've done everything that I said I'm going to do, and I'm going to build the studio. But in the meantime, I'm here. I'm still learning. Tyler's got me looking at my notes, so I got to get through and make sure that I'm hitting all the points. My other goal is, right now I'm at about 18 minutes, okay? I want to keep this at about 20 to 30 minutes. I know I talk a lot. It's kind of hard to just sit and listen to one person without having somebody else, this other dialogue. So I want to slow it down. I want to speed it up as much as possible, get to the point, be more clear. And I want to be able to share this whole growth process through all of my marketing stuff that I'm doing. So as far as the other points go, personal company and brand. So again, there's Dan the Roofing Man and there's Max Roofing. There's Dan the Roofing Man and all the travel he does and all the food he eats and all the experiences he has. And then there's Max Roofing and all the big houses they do and all the specific types of roofing that they do. And then we blend them together because, again, at the end of the day, people are following me or buying from me because I'm relatable, or there's something that they relate to. Some people just don't like me and they follow me because they just want to talk trash, and that's fine. But then there's other people, they will literally seek me out because of a post that I made, a post that was shared, or a post that I boosted. And it might have nothing to do with roofing, but eventually they followed me because I had a guy follow me because of a sprinter van that I used to own. Next thing you know, he becomes a client. I had a post I did a year and a half ago about that big project. Next thing you know, somebody's building an Arcadia. I get the opportunity to do a $200,000 roof. So you never know who's watching. I mean, you can kind of track who's watching. And there's a lot of people that don't like, they don't comment, they don't share. But then you run into them at a restaurant, like, you're that guy. Well, how do you know? Well, they see the number 3. The number 3, whether I want it or not, it's part of my brand now. That's why my wife's saying you got to wear it all the time on your shows, because that's what people know. Okay. So you want to blend them together. You want to just be real. You want to share who you are. You want to share other aspects of your life. You want to share projects that you're doing. You know, I had an issue probably 2 years ago where we had some shingles blow off a house, and we just went back and took care of it. And so I posted a video and said, hey, shit happens. The shingles blew off. It's a house we did. We're going to take care of it. I had a builder write me and say, Dan, I cannot tell you how uncommon that is, that you would take care of your stuff. Not only that, you're actually kind of talking trash about your company, but the flip side is you're taking care of it. I want to buy from you. And so when you share information and you share like experiences and you share things with people that are looking for that content, and you share with no strings attached, just to give it away, people love it. Okay. So they want to buy from you, but they need a reason that they can relate to you, okay? Because your product is your product, but people are buying from you. You could be selling ants, you could be selling solar, you could be selling cars, whatever that is, whatever, you know, you're pitching to these people doesn't really matter. If they like, know, and trust you, they're going to buy from you. Okay? And that all has to do with your branding. Branding gets into marketing and advertising and sales, and there's a lot of stuff that's connected, but branding is something I wanted to focus on today. So I'm investing a lot of money into my brand, obviously the Creative Contractor. That brand is separate from Dan the Roofing Man. Dan the Roofing Man is kind of my personal stuff and the roofing company that I do. But the Creative Contractor is about showing people that you can be creative, right? I got into water damage because roofs were leaking, right? Then we got into reconstruction because somebody had to put the house back together once the house was damaged. Well, then the flooring guy wasn't meeting our schedule, so we got into flooring. And at the end of the day, like, I've just created all these revenue streams. Well, now I make money, I invest into real estate, okay? And so the Creative Contractor is about all of that and more. Okay? And that's where I'm going to have multiple different types of guests on, from attorneys to bankers to real estate investors and gurus and coaches and all this stuff, because it's all part of that brand, okay? So at the end of the day, you might not realize that you are branding yourself, okay? But you are. The only difference is how you share it and how you represent it online. I personally choose to represent who I am. I've had people come up to me to meet me and they're like, hey, you're that guy. I can't believe I'm meeting someone famous. What do I have, 2,000 followers online? Like, come on, I'm not famous. But to them, I'm somebody that they look up to. And after they're done, they're like, man, you're just like you are on camera. Okay, and that's how I choose to represent myself. And my brand is my kids, my wife, my companies, my investments, my success, my failures, all that stuff's a part of it. So as far as getting into, what can branding lead to after that? Well, after my first podcast, I had a client reach out to me. Somebody I mentioned on my first podcast, they hadn't watched it. I know for a fact that they didn't watch it because it was too close to the launch. But all he knew is that I had launched my podcast. Okay. He knows me from business. He knows me from masterminds. Now he knows that I launched a podcast, and he calls and says, Dan, I have an event coming up. I want you to be on stage. Well, that scared the crap out of me. I'm not ready for that. I took a long time to get my podcast going. I told everybody no because I was terrified to be on a podcast. I can't stand being on camera. I was nervous about, I don't know, maybe people judge me. I don't know what it was. But for me to be on stage, that's a whole different level. But my branding to this point has given me that opportunity. Now, that opportunity would have been free. I would have spoken on stage for free. But the venue and the people that it was connected to, some of the top in the world as far as influencing goes. And they asked me, I had to turn them down because of scheduling and mainly because I'm nervous about it. And I'm not there yet. To be honest, I'm not. I wasn't doing this to be on stage and to be a speaker or anything like that. But that's just an opportunity of what your branding can lead to if you, keep your word and you actually represent who you are on camera as opposed to being a completely different person. This is not an act for me. I am exactly who I am. I cuss a lot. Like I said, some people don't like me because of the fact that I am real, but generally speaking, I've found that it does resonate with people more than being a fake person. So at the end of the day, your brand is, a buddy of mine, Dan Fleischman, wrote a book about how to build your brand for, I think it's how to build your brand for $1,000, right? He actually gives the book away. I have copies, but I gave them away to friends of mine and I read 95% of it. But basically, his whole book is about being omnipresent. Okay. If your friend is out having, a drink and someone else says, my roof leaked, you need to be the first person that they think of. If your friend is building a house and they say that they need a new roof, they want a metal roof, you need to be the first person that they think of. So being omnipresent has to do with building, your social media accounts, your YouTube, your email follow list, posting all the time, just being that person that they recognize in the space so that no matter what, in the event an opportunity shows up, you are the person that they think of. So it's one of the best books I've ever read. I took a lot of notes on it. I actually think I gave away the book that I took my notes in, but it's a book that I recommend. I'm not an expert at branding. I'm an expert at being exactly who I am though, and sharing. And it's worked out very well for me in my life. And I think if you do the same thing, it will work out for you. So we're at 27 minutes. I would like to know if somebody can count how many times I said, and I would like to know if you have any feedback. I would really appreciate it if you would like, share, comment, email. Also, as the creative contractor, there are some very specific things that I am looking for to help build my brand, but also build my companies. Okay. Number one, I am looking for a COO to run my roofing company. Okay. We're looking to lateral into the B2C space because so much of our business is B2B. And I recognize that I am not the best to lead the company to do that because I'm who I am, and I'm just not super good with dealing with homeowners the way that I should be. I'm really good at dealing with businesses and people with experience in the construction field. And I need to hire somebody who's really good at developing sales processes, the good, better, best, etc. We also have a massive amount of roofs, probably 5 or 10,000 roofs that we've done over the years that we want to go back and offer our maintenance program and our warranty program and solar to. Okay, so I need a really strong solar person. We're also looking to buy specific companies in roofing, HVAC, and restoration. So if you know anybody who's looking to sell their company because they're trying to exit, or if they're looking for someone like myself who could come alongside of them and help them grow their company because maybe they don't have the experience. I know a lot of really, really good roofers out there that are great at what they do. They're great at marketing and branding. They're not the best at business and they're not the best at managing their finances. Okay. I'm very good at that. And if they want to stay on and they want to sell part of their company, I'm very interested in that. So that'd be roofing, restoration, the companies we're looking to buy. And also as a creative contractor, right, we take the money that we make and we invest into real estate. So we're looking to buy additional real estate. Generally speaking, our single family, we flip. Okay. Right now, interest rates are really high. So it doesn't make sense for us to have a mortgage on a property that we have a renter in because the math doesn't work out after we improve it. With multifamily, we're looking to hold, and really any size. Okay, as long as the math works out, we're looking to buy any types of real estate. So because of my branding, because of the growth that I've had in my company, it's created these other opportunities for me to go out and further grow my companies and my brand or brands. So if you have anybody that you know that's looking to legitimate people, I'm not talking about somebody who's not working. I want to recruit legit COO, legit solar people, legit companies to buy, and then real estate that we can add value to. So anyways, 30 minutes deep. That is the end of episode 5. I feel like I did much better with this episode. I'm not an expert at branding, but I can share my experience with it, and I hope it's helped you guys. And I hope you come back for episode 6. I'm not sure what the title is going to be yet, but I will have notes. I'll be better prepared, and hopefully I won't say Thank you.